Hello, welcome to Boardgames with Niramas. I'm Joseph. Request over here somewhere. He's not really that interested in today's topic because we're talking today about the top 5 sponsor cards in Ark Nova. There's no sponsor cards that really is about dragons. So yeah, anyway, the top 5 sponsor cards, and I will say this topic is a little bit more interesting for me though, because compared to the animals that we had last week, the animals in Ark Nova are cool, and I love the pictures of them. I love the animals, but the sponsor cards are more unique in a sense. There's a few sponsor cards that have the same effect, but for different types of animals or for different continent symbols and so on. But there's also a bunch of them that are really unique and really have cool effects, and those are my top 5. So let's get into it with number 5. And number 5 to start us off here is the Technology Institute. So this one has, well, I think it's the only one. It's the only card in the game, I think, that has the income of X tokens. And you get an X token when you play it as well. But that income of X tokens is so good. X tokens is amazing, especially in the solo game, since you have a limited amount of actions. But even in the multiplayer game, it's so good to be able to boost like that. And when you get to sort of the end game, you can somehow sneak in a little bit of like association actions, or you can even do the multiples. I love when I'm like at 5 on the association and then I have like 3 X tokens and I can do 2 actions at once if I have 2 different workers. Really love X tokens in this game. And also 1 conservation point at the end of the game if you have all 3 universities, which I tend to get. I don't know why, but I tend to lean to getting like 3 universities and then like 2 friendship tiles rather than, I don't know why. It depends on the map, of course, as well. If the map has conservation points as a bonus when you build your 3rd university, so that varies. But yeah, I really like Technology Institute, and it also gives you a research icon. At number 4, we have something really cool with the side entrance. So this is the little tile you place. But the cool thing is you can place it, you have to place on 2 border spaces, but you don't need to do it adjacent to other tiles. So this is very good because this is a way to jump over the map. Basically, normally on your player board, your little map, you can always have to build, when you start, you have to build from one of the edges, and then you have to build connecting to what you already built, right? With the side entrances, you can break that rule, and sometimes that is amazingly good. And it also gives you money. So when it's like, what is that? Gain 2 money for each building that is connected to the side entrance. So in some situations, I got this pretty late in the game and I already built a bunch of things. And well, then it was still pretty good because you can place it so it can be connected to like 3-4 things. That's a good income. It's way better than a kiosk. And it also has if the zoom map is completely covered, you get 5 extra appeal at the end of the game, which I do tend to like to go for in multiplayer games. In solo, it's never happening basically because there's not enough time. But in the multiplayer games, I really think that's cool. In the solo game, I more use this card to like sneak in to get some bonus placements on the other side of the map that I might not even get to otherwise. Side entrance, really good one. And then at number 3, even though it's a pretty nasty artwork there, in my opinion, holding the snake. But yeah, the veterinarian, this is a really, really strong card. So it just makes it so that supporting a conservation project requires only 4 in strength instead of 5. And that's good in multiplayer, but it's super good in solo gaming because you're always sitting there being like, oh, I want to support like 2 conservation projects at the end of the game, but I have so few actions, and as soon as you use the association cards, it slides down, right? So being able to just do it on 4 instead of 5, it doesn't sound that great maybe if you haven't played the game much in solo, but it is super, super good. I mean, it's good in multiplayer as well. You want to play this, optimally, you want to play this after you play the universities, because then you get a bunch of money if you have 1, 2, or 3 universities already played. It gives you a research icon, which is always good. And then at the end of the game, it also gives you a conservation point if you have all those universities, just like the last one. So having both of them and so on, that's a nice combo there. With first building the universities, then getting this one out just in time because it takes a little time often to build up for those conservation projects that you want to support. You want to have like 4 or 5 of a certain icon before you support them. But at that time, you can play this one out and you can do it at 4, and then you can manage to do it again, hopefully together with X tokens, right? You can combo that. Really, really like the veterinarian. Okay, so for my number 2, I am showing you 2 cards here because they are so similar. So it's the Global Breeding Program or the Breeding Program. The Global Breeding Program requires you to have 2 of the friendship tiles. The Breeding Program requires you to have 2 research icons, which is generally easier to do, I think, because you can just get that university tile that gives you 2 of those. They both have the effect of, if you have supported 5 conservation projects, you get 1 conservation point, which is pretty hard to do, I would say. This card helps with it though, or both of these, because what you do is you place 2 cubes on it from your supply of cubes, and then when you support a conservation project, you can use a cube there instead of what it actually is. Like, let's say you have 4 European icons, but you can claim that conservation project at 5 and use one of those cubes. And again, one of these together, and especially the breeding program, which is a little bit better, I think, because it's easier to do. That one together with the veterinarian, and you see, yeah, I mean, it's a big deck of cards, so the chance of getting these cards in my top 5 in the same game, it's not that high. But yeah, breeding program and global breeding program, really good effects. And again, it's really cool. It's like it's a way to cheat the game rules a little bit. And this is great, in all types, like on multiplayer, role play accounts, and solo, and so on. Just great cards. And finally, my favorite sponsor card in Ark Nova is the Explorer. Yeah, I'll start by explaining what it does first. So each time, if you play this one, when you play it, you get 2 money per different continent or animal icon you have. So, you might have a few, but you want to play this as soon as you can. This does require you to have flipped your sponsor card to level 2. That might make it so you can't play it like right away. But if I get this one on my starter hand, I will flip the sponsor card first as soon as I can, because the effect ongoing is so good. So each time you gain a continent or an animal category icon that you don't have already, you gain 1 appeal and 2 money. And that's just so good. Because the thing is though, especially, I mean, again, situational, all that, I know. But even like in most games, I think I would end up with like maybe 3-4 different animal icons and 3-4 different continents. I mean, that could be like, that could be like 7-8 appeal plus the money. And in some games where we have the end game or the conservation project goal out there of having like the diversity, I think it's called, so you want to have different continents, you want to have different animals, and then together with this, it's just so good. Yeah, I really, really like this one a lot. And I have to tell you, it reminds me a little bit of another game that I really like is Gaia Project. And in Gaia Project, there's this faction called Goiden, which is my favorite faction in that game. And that faction has that same ability, basically. When you discover new, like when you build on new planet types that you haven't been on already, you get a bunch of bonuses. It just reminds me of that, and I just think that is so great. So that is my favorite sponsor card. Now tell me in the comment section, what are your favorite sponsor cards in Ark Nova? And do you like this kind of format? Do you like these videos? Then, press that thumbs up button and like the video, and also subscribe to the channel. There's more to come next week. We are going to bring you another top 5 video from Ark Nova. Have a great evening or morning whenever you're watching. Take care. Bye bye.